All right, welcome everyone. Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Ascendance of a Bookworm, Season 2, Episode 10. Can't go home for the winter. That sucks.
Nope.
That's rough.
Yeah.
But, you know, time to see how these objects and all that stuff get the mana from the people into the objects. Maybe it's just, I don't know, they hold them or something. But maybe this is also where we get some more, lore stuff about how the church runs things and magic and things like that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential there. I think also we're going to potentially be headed into a time skip, potentially, because of the seasonal change. And given that we've got, mom's very, very pregnant, and that's going to be something that's going to be coming up pretty soon.
Preggers.
Yes.
But then also there's that whole thing of hey, books and making a lot of them and quickly and all of the crazy things that you're doing. This is probably where people at the church, maybe specifically the high priest, will start pushing back a bit.
Yeah, or at the very least, we're going to have a lot of church people all assembled doing similar things, and you will be participating, which means, your presence might just get noticed a little bit more.
But hopefully it'll be fine.
Yeah, hopefully it's just gonna be fine. But y'all, without further ado, let's get into this.
冬には奉納式がある。吹雪で神殿まで来られないようでは困る。
That does feel so weird, though, to have the same voice for the recap as for, the first character talking.
このような儀式で魔力が必要だからだ。忘れたか。
神官長のおっしゃることはわかります。でも、それでは家族が心配します。冬は本当に熱を出すことが多いので。
君の家族が。
Right, they can come here, but you can't go there.
それがこちらからの最大の譲歩だ。
Wow, okay.
今日の晩ご飯何かな？
Aww.
私、
Yeah.
個人の
You
It's
gotta
true.
take care of them over the winter, too.
フラン、私の冬支度は何が必要かし。
All of it? Oh, right now? Okay.
Well, let's figure that out.
Yep.
言っちゃなんだけど、マインの家より神殿の部屋の方が絶対に暖かいから風邪をひきにくいだろ。
Hey, he cares about you. It's just...
私の言葉よりうちの家族に信用あるから。
頑張れよ。
Okay.
それでマイン、話ってなんだ。
冬の間は大事な儀式があるから、雪が降り始めたら神殿にこもるようにって言われたの。
Yep.
どういうことだ。マインは通いだと言ったはずだ。
Yeah, they have altered the deal. Pray they do not alter it any further.
行けなくなるでしょ。冬は大事な儀式があるから。
Yeah, if you're not able to commute.
それに家族が様子を見に来るのはいいって神官長が。
マインを一人で神殿にこもらせるなんて。
Oh.
マインはどうしたいと思ってるの？
神殿にこもる。
Whoa.
神殿に入ることを許されたのは私の魔力が必要だったからだよ。だから青の衣を許可されてるし、辛い肉体労働はしなくて済んでる。神官長はできるだけこっちの条件を聞き入れて。
Yeah.
Right.
だから私も魔力が必要な儀式にはきちんと出なきゃいけないの。
Then they might revoke all of it, yeah.
Yeah, this is effectively my real job.
見食いの熱で倒れることがなくなったのは
That's...
神殿で神具に魔力を奉納してるからだよ。じゃなかったらここまで。
So the more I do this, the healthier I will be. Yeah.
それにね、父さん。私、孤児院のみ。
Yeah. I'm taking care of other kids,
あいつらが。
Oh.
Yep.
院長だからね。
家族が様子を見に。
Yeah, I love her dad.
Yeah.
He's so fiercely protecting her, but also very reasonable when you talk to him,
Right.
しっかり務めを果たすんだ。
Like he's trying to keep up with all the adjustments he has to
Right,
do because his daughter really is something else.
Yeah.
もし体調を崩した場合はどうするの？
部屋にはベッドもあるし、そば使いも。
Yeah, I'm kind of being waited on, in every way I can
Oh,
be.
yeah.
の様子なら私がちょくちょく見に行ってあげるよ。寂しいからいっぱい会いに来て。
Nice.
裁縫教室も。
Oh, look at him.
My daughter's growing up.
どうしてマインはトゥーリばかりを頼りにする
Lean on me. I could be very
Yeah.
supportive. Yeah.
Right.
じゃあ父さんには孤児院の豚肉加工
Oh, I'll absolutely do that.
経験者がいないから
Get my muscles into
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, all
My
right.
daughter needs me. Oh. Yeah.
豚肉加工は新館長に恩返しをしたいという
As a dead pig. I love that they censored it by not showing the obvious gutted neck at the bottom.
Right.
頼まれてた豚の皮取っといたぞ。
ありがとう
Making leather?
これで煮皮が作れる
Yeah.
They're doing this whole thing in house.
Of course. I mean,
私も新しい絵本作りに
already?
先に騎士団からの要請に備えて祝詞を覚えましょ
Ah.
Okay.
騎士団の妖精奉納式に関係がある
Might be something separate.
う。毎年冬に入る前に騎士団から要請があることが多いのです。
Okay.
そこで執り行う儀式があるのですが、
聖変で儀式を行える青色神官がいないんですね
はい、青色見込み習いとして騎士の前で儀式を行うことがも
Whoa. Jeez.
Okay.
で
Yeah.
もしかして責任
Yes, that's why he's saying before you do anything big, like, you gotta have this all on lock.
中で新館長こんなの普段じ
Yeah! I'm so proud of you!
ゃわかりま
But
し
yeah,
た
she is kind of being
お祈り
ordered
の
at
言
this
葉を
point.
覚え
So
ます
she's not entirely proud. She's like, you are my.
Yeah.
長がいますよね
新館長は時と場合により神殿業務より
Oh,
貴族の業務を優先させなければならない。
Okay.
More hints about his origins. Yeah.
Yeah.
そういえばマイン様、
Yeah, switching
儀式用の衣
subjects.
装
Yeah.
はどうなりましたか？
That was pretty smooth there, Fran.
もうじきできると思います
Mon
で
to
は
you.
要請があればすぐに出られるようになるべく早く神殿にお持ちください。
Okay.
素敵ですコリンナさん儀式用の衣装が整い部屋が冬仕様に模様替えされ
Winter makeover.
Nice.
孤児院の冬支度はほとんど終わった
And then the knights showed up, sounds like.
シュセイリアの夜か
Shazaria.
騎士団の要請も近いな
Really building this up.
Well, I think it's another form of mana transfer because
Maybe. Yeah.
if they have knights that potentially themselves are imbued with like holy items or something,
Oh,
maybe
sure.
those items themselves need mana, you know? And thus the ritual is a performance to like dedicate the knights a little
Right.
bit, you know? Oh. Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa.
This is the request.
マイン静かにしなさ
We
い
need to listen closely, yeah.
フェルディナンダ様、カルステッドです。
Okay.
騎士団より討伐の協力と神官の要請をいたします。
With a raid.
フェルディナンダ様、カルステッドです。騎士団より討伐
Right. It just repeats itself, yeah.
鳥が石になった
Right, it's done using its magic, yeah.
And he actually pulls out a wand.
Yeah, he's sending a message back. Wow.
了解した
That's awesome.
Wild. Nice.
新館長一体何が
聞いていなかったのか騎士団からの要請だすぐに儀式用の衣装に着替え貴族門へ急ぐ
All right, just like that.
あの
Yeah, where's that?
貴族門は
At the edge of the city.
Ron
Clearly.
will show you.
私が存じ上げております。
I love the perspective, just like feet
Rip.
lifts off the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
ロジーナ、すぐに儀式用の衣装の準備を。
We gotta go fast.
こんなフラン初め
There's probably a range of this spell, basically, in that, like, they might be literally approaching the city right now.
Oh, maybe.
マイン様の準備が整いましたマイン様相手は騎士団でございます不愉快なことが起こっても決して表情に出さないようにお気をつけくださいま
She's not good at that.
Yeah.
覚えてらっしゃいますね。
All Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Looks
nice. Very good.
あらここは
新艦長室と
Oh, no, it's just right here.
Good. Oh.
So they'd probably already entered the city.
Oh shit.
Well, well, well.
本当に新艦
Okay.
He's a war cleric.
Bro is not
お待たせいたしました
私は今日は新艦長ではなく騎士団として参加するからな
Whoa.
Okay.
少々見慣れぬ柄だが
Yeah,
予
we'll,
想
we'll
以上
take it. Yeah, yeah.
その紋章は
Yeah, what is that
マイン
crest?
工房のも
Nice.
Hey!
君は夏の生まれだったなそれを貸してやろう中指にはめておけ
What? Her birth month?
このくらいでいちいち驚くな
そんなこと言われ
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I think I know what that is. Wild.
平民丸出し
Yep.
って黙っていなさい
すみません
Close your mouth, please, mine. You are not a codfish.
Right, right, exactly. Oh.
Gotcha. The noble quarter. Mm-hmm. Kept separate from the rest of the city.
ありないようで
Whoa.
何よりでございます
This is so cool.
今回の儀式を執り行う見込み習いのマインだ
カルステッド様マインと申しますよろしくお願いいたします
You're not doing something.
こちらこそよろしく
Oh, okay,
見
okay.
込み習い
He's just a stern guy. And
Yep.
he's about to go, murder some people. but-
Right, right, exactly.
Mine. Stop it. Oh my god.
What?
動物の彫刻が出てきたよ
I mean,
It's
I
got a
guess,
saddle.
yeah, we had the familiar messenger thing, so. Oh my god.
新艦長これは何ですか
魔石を変化させた機銃だ魔力の供給が切れぬ限り自在に動いてくれる
That is wild.
We're flying. Yep.
不思議ライオンが動い
Mine. Shut
Your
up.
plebeian is showing.
Yeah, yeah.
What could they possibly have to fight?
Don't know. Monsters?
Yeah.
新艦長どこへ行くのですか
あそこだ
Oh.
Oh, okay.
We know exactly what we're dealing with now.
It's a big old tromba.
Yep.
まさかこんな状態になるものだなんて
Yeah, it's grown way too big.
これは危険ですね
And the way there's so much just nothing around it.
君の出番は騎士団がトロンベを討伐した
Oh,
後、
okay.
根こそぎ魔力を奪われた土地を家
Okay.
Ah.
わかりました
Brilliant.
それまで
Alright,
君
that
は
makes
ここ
sense.
で待機だカルステッド
And that's why they need someone that's not a fighter.
Yeah.
Because they're probably going to be using their mana during the fight.
よっと
He's like, please, mine.
忘れてた優雅
まったく君はつつけぬようしっかり守るようにはっ
Jeez.
Okay.
Just completely uprooted.
行くぞ
This fight is going to be totally epic and,
And
totally off
off
screen.
申し上げますライデンシャフトの眷属である武勇の神アングリーフのご加護がありますよ
Yeah. Whoa.
見込み習いの祝福だ
祝福
マインくれぐれくれぐれも出番までおとなし
She just casually just cast the bless spell on all of them
Right, right.
and was like, "What am I doing?"
yeah. Okay.
Oh, interesting.
I did not like that look. That was wild though.
That was nuts.
That was crazy.
Oh yeah, we've got a crystal that transforms into a magical like lion mount. You know?
Right.
yes, sir. We're in a high fantasy
We
world.
started it with just a little bird, you know?
Yeah. And we were like, oh, the bird, man. And then it's just like, please.
Like, they introduced the Noble District like it was fucking Anne Orlando.
Right. All right, what have we got for our teaser? It's going to be mind freaking out about all this stuff. Trumba and battles. Okay.
新艦長今回はファンタジーな展開が続いて
少し刺激が強かったか。
Oh, I will draw all of it.
本当に君は本のことしか頭にないな。
Correct.
お褒めに預かり光栄です
It wasn't a compliment. Oh. Nice.
Now that I think about it, actually, Ferdinand's getup and the fact that his name is Ferdinand. Oh, he's the textbook definition of a fantasy knight. Like,
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
He's not a prince. He's the knight in shining armor. Like he's Prince Charming. He's got the blue hair and everything.
Oh, yeah.
How did I not see it?
Okay, so that was awesome.
That was a great reveal.
Weirdly enough, I almost feel like I don't have as much to talk about because it gave us so much awesome stuff that I'm like, okay, we are moving quickly here.
Yeah.
There's going to be a fight that happens next episode. That's going to be awesome. We've seen so much now of, like, what it means to be nobility from this.
Right.
That it's like, all right, cool. Okay, does that mean we're going in that direction soon? Or like...
We're going very quickly in that direction soon. I think they've been building this up for a while. It's just the thing of where, okay, what we thought was kind of the point of the nobility, basically, is that they'd have like one or two basically running the city and they'd be very much,
Sure.
kind of in their own space or what have you. But no, we have a whole district of the city that nobody from the common folk area has actually been to or seen.
Yep.
Or necessarily even knew existed.
Right, it might as well be another world.
Yeah. But the church divides it. The cathedral divides it. And that's a very fun detail that the church, this religion here, is kind of the center of the society for everything. It's kind of the fulcrum, if you will, that balances everything. But the magic and the nobility and their place in all of that has to partner up with the church in order to make sure that certain things are being done properly, or at the very least that they're allocating the resources properly.
And if your society is doing full like class physical separation, but you don't want to have like multiple churches or something, right?
Yeah.
The common folk and the nobility go to the same place, even if maybe at different times or whatever. Then
just different sections within the church.
Different sections within the church. It totally makes sense that that the church would end up being this kind of in between spot, and yet we didn't have it ever brought up before now because that wasn't relevant. We didn't need to know about that. And it just further cements in our minds how separate these parts of the world are, right? So it's just, the nobles are probably somewhere. We hear about nobles. We've seen a few nobles, okay. But, even then the nobles weren't in their element because they were, blue robes at the church, right?
Yeah, and they were more specifically just kind of servants of the church in like an organization sense.
Right.
Ferdinand or our head priest here, we've always suspected that he had some kind of higher status basically than just everybody else, because he seems to be a little bit privileged in the position that he's in.
Yeah, that bit of that like mysterious not prince archetype kind of thing.
Yeah. But now it's like, nah, guy's just full on Marth. Like he's the knight. He's the elegant knight here, and he's at the very least covering for a lot of minds, just like here, which is hilarious. But also, he can't stop everyone else's eyes from just noticing her oddity self.
Right.
And so when she's alone with the knights, immediately they're like, yeah, that blessing was bullshit. Like, that does nothing. And it's like, there's some disdain. There's some, like, some negative feelings that are pent up, but like, oh, no, decorum and all that. But you're no threat. Okay, I'll just tell you what I think.
Right. I'm very excited, very concerned.
These knights are nobles. These are all nobles, like, effectively. Like,
and I'm also really excited to see how they fight, because that then, informs us a bit. Granted, this is against the big monster, right?
Sure.
But that informs us a bit as for how the upper echelons of this world that are the only ones that have been able to use magic in any kind of organized way, what the meta is, basically, right? Like what they've determined to be the best way to wield this.
Sure. So at the very least, they're using conventional weapons and armor.
Yep.
So they probably don't want to be over-reliant on mana.
Sure.
Cool. We saw no casters in their group here. This is a strictly sword and board and armor, heavy armor people here. So while they probably do have access to magic, the point of mine being a valuable resource here is not being undercut by suddenly the presence of a whole bunch of magically, supercharged soldiers necessarily. They probably have access to that kind of stuff, but the disdain towards mine's magic, if you will, was actually kind of fun, because to me it makes me think of no, your little pretty words and all that stuff is great, but it doesn't matter if you don't have the
a D4 is nice and all, but using the bless as an example, but it's a poor substitute for a sword in something's face. Right? Like the all right, nice, that sort of like a game
you raise our morale a little bit.
Right. It's the when you say in like the Game of Thrones books, there's the person that's like this person can do weird things. But if the Hound goes after them, they're just dead, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's just sort of how it goes. And so now that we're seeing them in a big organized unit just to take out one Tromba, which is crazy. Now, granted, it's a big boy,
It's a big boy, and it makes sense. I think we had some stuff building up to this with the way that Mine's father and the other guy who was at the gate with him, I think it was Otto.
Yes.
Ended up basically kind of talking about stuff like this.
Right.
This is a very scary situation because the Tromba is capable of absorbing magic from things,
and maybe
it could absorb it from people too.
Right, and that could theoretically be why they're sorting out like this, where it's something where yes, we have mana, but we've basically stabilized it in items, and so we're not going to be doing any overt mana things until the Tromba is dead.
Right.
And then that's going to be your job.
Right.
Return the mana to the soil.
Yeah,
basically.
that's probably the reason why they're not bringing the mounts into combat.
Sure.
Those could get absorbed by the Tromba.
Yep.
It's probably the reason why they potentially only have one person, aka Ferdinand, who's potentially even magical themselves in the overt sense, going to fight, because if you brought in a whole bunch of nobles to fight that they themselves are all charged up with mana, that could be an actual problem.
Well, but
that's why I want to see how they fight.
As another fun thing, that could be what their armor's for, right? Like when I think about why
the
you'd
mana
use
is warding the armor so that they can't have their magic absorbed.
Yeah, like when I think about
sorry.
But when I think about mundane weapons, right? If you have magic, that'd be so totally inefficient, right? But if it's something as a tool to be supplemented by magic, that could be the thing where then it's just you have two people that are like, cool, we have magic to protect ourselves. And so then it sort of equalizes and goes back to sword, because I've made a thing where this is a magically specialized thing that can get through your defense. Nothing else will hurt you other than this. And so now it's sort of back to the classics. But then, one of the things that you would probably want to have your armor mainly do is also defend you from magical bad stuff. And if something can drain mana and things like that, armor would be ridiculously important, and that's also probably why, mine would stay back here and things like that, right? Where it's
but I'm curious of why Ferdinand's going in, though, because he seems like the kind of person that would be charged up with mana.
Well, and that's where we could theoretically get into the mechanics of the Tromba, because it absorbed, it drained the tree
and the ground around
the ground, but that doesn't necessarily mean it can just Nihilist style just drain stuff at range.
No, it has to touch it. It has to touch it.
Right,
That's my
it's
point.
through that connection.
It's a rooted plant.
Yeah.
So what my point is that if this thing hungers and eats basically mana there, it doesn't need to be some mage. It can gather mana in even the slightest variety just from life itself.
Sure.
So in that respect, that's what makes the Tromba so terrifying, is that the dirt isn't a magician. The dirt is literally just a place where life is.
Yeah.
And so if all the microbacterial everything in there is just dying because this thing is just taking every little bit from it out there, a human life probably has a lot more than grass, you know?
Sure. So maybe then that's why the steel is important. It's not the we charge the steel with magic. It's the
this
we
has
specifically
no magic.
Didn't.
Right.
It's
right.
This is your lead-lined suit for
Yes.
right? And so all right, go kill the fucker,
Or, oh my god, this might even make more sense. Even more so than that, Ferdinand is the most magical of them all, and he's like, I will taunt the thing. You guys go in when it comes to me, and then we'll, tactics will, wing flanked formation come in, and you guys hit its limbs and stuff.
Right.
When it then exposes itself in a singular way towards me.
Right, and that's something where I'm really curious to see how this goes, because one, this isn't an action show, so this is its first foray into that. Yeah. But then two, as far as the tromba itself, that seems like a very straightforward kind of mechanical situation, right? And so then how do you keep it dynamic? How do you show the ways in which these guys are bringing their own special, tactics or strategy to it, rather than just the, all right, everyone group up and hit it till it dies,
Right. And you'll still need to do that once you've got it, immobilized or at the very least stunned or what have you.
Yeah, and maybe to an extent that's kind of like this situation is bad enough that that's kind of our only recourse now. It's just, all right. But also, another thing I want to point out, I don't know if they showed the weapons that the knights had and stuff, but I would think...
I think they had swords.
Okay, but I would think that if, assuming, they're not magical weapons or whatever, that if you're gonna, fight a big tree that, got to the giga size, you don't want to bring swords. You want to bring some
Actually,
axes,
that's actually a good point. I am seeing no weapons here at all.
Oh.
I am seeing
not even on their hips or something?
Not even on their hips in the slightest bit.
Are they just going to do mage shit and just...
Yeah, I see 0 weapons. In fact, the gray robe with the staff is the only conventional-looking weapon I've seen thus far. I'm going through here. I think the reason why I inferred sword is because they had that one clip of Lutz and the other kid hacking at the
right at the sprouts.
I kind of drew the connection there in my head, but they do not have actual...
Hey, I like it.
Actual weapons here.
Yeah, but this will be cool.
Yeah, so they could have conjured weapons that they
the armor is just...
use.
Right, it's like no, of course all mages wear armor. Why wouldn't we? Right? This isn't some, game balance thing where it interferes with...
They do have weapons. Here they are.
They do?
They have halberds. They have big halberds.
Oh, yeah, poleaxes. Perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
Range, reach
stuff
weapons.
with reach that, can hack at wood well. Nice.
Right. So they can pierce and, chop.
Right, potentially stick it to,
the ground or something.
Right, interfere with the movement of the limbs a little bit, maybe, and then also just chop.
Right. Okay, so yeah, they have good-sized weapons there. Where those weapons were just a second ago, who cares? I got the vibe a little bit this episode that we were building up this fight is going to be totally epic and totally off-screen, because they were very much like, oh no, we have some big creatures that we're going to need to animate. So even when they take off to fly, we actually only see four of them
as
fly.
they leave. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I get it.
Right.
That's a lot to do.
Well, and to be fair, if you're going to have something where it's off-screen, epic and off-screen, well, there seems to be a potential conflict, at least, that mine is needing to deal with these other dudes.
Right, so we can focus on that.
Yeah, that is something...
We can show a lot of dust kicking up and,
Right, exactly.
Maybe a couple shots of Ferdinand and not have to go super in-depth into it, because mine's not going to see this.
Right.
So therefore, she doesn't need to know the details of how it went down.
Because they're also doing the smart thing of, this isn't going to be something like in Fate, where it's like, all right, we're going to, out of courtesy, not attack the masters that are standing right nearby to observe and commentate on the fight.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
No, you are going to be way over there, and then we will bring you in when the thing is dead,
Yeah. Now, I liked specifically that when she knelt down and did the little blessing prayer, they all kind of sat there and were like, oh, we're going to let this come about. Mm-hmm. But when the actual little bubble blessings came and stuff,
they seemed kind of surprised by the visible effect.
That it actually happened. They were like, oh, yeah, this is the whole...
Mm-hmm. Right.
And which is fun here, because I got the vibe that the reason why they were so panicked about this is because every second that they're taking their dang time, the Tromba is absorbing more magic and getting stronger.
Yeah.
But here's a point where they're like, oh, wait, hold on, stop. The noble girl is doing some
doing
weird
her thing.
magic shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, wait, something actually happened here.
Right. And
maybe it's just, again, Ferdinand, the head priest, doing his job to make sure he's not drawing attention to her or doing anything weird with her, but it's I'm surprised that he also didn't respond necessarily in any way other than like respect. Like he was like, yes.
I'm actually curious. What if the whole upheaval thing happened, right?
Yeah.
The church has said that they have fewer people that can supply mana, but they didn't say how many they have. What if it was actually that Ferdinand was like one of their last people, basically, that can actually supply like real mana, not like just like a little bit of something.
Baby mana.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so the people that they would send out here for other things, it's just they wouldn't say that it's a placebo. You're getting nothing, right?
Wow.
And so now the people are actually seeing like, wait, huh? Like there's a visible thing that happened. We're not used to that. And so then the people afterwards,
can we talk about the ring,
when they're left behind, they're like, yeah, that didn't mean anything.
Can we talk about the ring then?
Sure.
What did you think it was?
Well, so I thought
I have an idea.
So okay, they very much built up the whole like kind of Prince Charming kind of trope, and literal knight in shining armor now with Ferdinand. I thought it was the thing, since we've talked about like the whole mana babies, that whole scary topic, that basically he was doing something to say this person is claimed, basically, and so that way no one will like be like this person that then demonstrates they have mana, we're going to try and do something about it, right? And so that's why then also it's in a place that is easy enough to see, so that when you do the prayer greeting or whatever,
yes,
but like it's very prominently displayed and stuff. So that's what I was originally thinking it was, given that it actually did something when she was doing the blessing. It might not be that. It could be multiple things, though. It could be that and.
I want to ask about why he said, you were born in the summer, yes? Mm-hmm. And does that before she gets the ring. And then says, well, you can borrow that and put it on your middle finger. Which means, in my opinion, it's either that he's double checking to make sure his data is correct before he asks for, hey, can you get the yellow ring or what have you?
Right, exactly.
But it brings to mind a few things. One, that he's basically like, okay, depending on which, month you were born, or sorry, which season you were born, this is which finger you put it on. But to me, that doesn't really make sense.
I think the finger, I think, is usually what connotates the meaning of the ring.
No, totally. But then, to me, also, is that if you're putting the ring on and it has a magical, innate aspect to it, that's not just a conscious thing, but a thing that the ring will act the second she does magic. It's that it needs to be attuned to maybe the type of magic.
Okay.
So he's potentially experimenting here and doing something a little bit like, I'm going to just take advantage of the moment of what we're doing here.
Okay.
And it's that, when you use magic, because you're going to at some point here.
Right.
This thing is going to take some of that, or at the very least absorb, or maybe even dampen it in some way.
Sure, or figure out what your resonance or whatever is for magic, so that way as we teach you to use it later or in the future or whatever, we're better set up to do that, since we need you to actually be prepared as a noble for noble society, since you grew up a
commoner. So it could be the marriage thing, which I think makes a lot of sense, and I
feel like that plays to a lot of the tropes that this show enjoys.
Right. But the thing that I found interesting was that it glowed the second she did the blessing, the prayer.
Right.
Meaning that, to me, she did magic without meaning to do magic, but the ring glowed when she did that.
Right. Because, sure, if you think about what a magical device would be, or the reason for it, it would either be for some, I think
boosting the magic.
Yeah, boosting the magic, giving it some sense of structure or permanency or whatever. Or in the structure side of it rather than the permanency side of it, it's the you don't need to necessarily know how to do the spell that the device creates because the device is creating the spell, right? And so
right,
then
it's a focus.
Then, yeah, exactly. You know, and so then the idea of put mana into this thing and it creates effect, you know, I feel like that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, but the other one is it's actually just like every other magic item we've shown in this, in that it absorbs magic, and that anything that she basically would give magic-wise, it then doesn't bless it out. It doesn't give it out. It, like, absorbs it. Like, it takes some of it.
Okay. I think that's 100% what is happening. But for any device that would work in the way that I'm talking about, the first thing that it would do is it would absorb magic in order to then use it for something.
Yeah, and I'm saying
it's absorbing it just for kicks.
just for absorbing its sake.
Okay.
I get the vibe specifically that the part that would be the scariest for the head priest is not the decorum thing or what have you, but potentially people would realize how
much
strong
her
magic is, and this is a dampener, and it's a thing to basically be like, if any of them could theoretically tell, they'd be like, oh, if she gave a blessing without the ring, it might have gone like blah, you know,
some crazy thing or whatever.
Instead, they just see little bubbles, and they're like, whoa.
Okay.
So I'm throwing that out there as yes, obviously, if it was a focus, it would still channel the magic through it to then use it,
right?
But yeah, the stuff that we've been building up with her and the head priest feels like it's the mind. You don't realize how big of a deal you are, and I am trying to basically like not have you fuck it all up by your ostentatiousness.
Especially given that like you are now basically being publicly presented to a bunch of people with an insane amount of power and influence. Each of them is individuals, and there's a bunch of them. So that's like this is where it's especially important.
Which, again, is also kind of wild that if he wants her to be kept secret, why didn't he just do this?
Well, because I think it's the thing of the, he needs his mana then for the fight and all that stuff, right? And that's why they have that, the person that does the ritual is basically just the mana battery, right? They go and do all the crazy stuff. Okay. And so then you have the person who's fully basically juiced up and ready, and their only thing is you bless it, you bless the people before they fight, and then you do the thing to clean up afterwards, in this specific case because it's a tromba.
Right.
And it's just, all right, there we go. That's it. That's your whole job. It's a big job, and so we don't want you to do literally anything else.
Yeah. Another thing that's kind of fun, I didn't even think about this, but one of the things that'd be so scary about a tromba is you wouldn't know entirely if you've killed it until you bless the region with mana.
Oh, sure, and then see if it... Yeah.
If it then gets absorbed again, you're like, oh, okay, cool, we missed something, and you can go and dig and like find the last little thing and destroy it.
Although I am curious because, okay, the idea of the tromba, and this is something that the show hasn't necessarily gone into, but if it's in a location, and it absorbs the mana from the, and the nutrients from everything around it, right, and it gets all big, it's now going to be more difficult in order to get more stuff, because then it has to like send out the tendrils to like the fallen tree and absorb it from that, because, well, it's absorbed everything that's nearby and easy to absorb, right? So I wonder if that's something where that's like, it's also something where this is, weirdly enough, the perfect place to fight it also. Not that it can necessarily like move very easily, but it's cool, it deadened this zone. It's as big as it's going to get for the most part right now.
Right.
If we cut it to pieces off of it and it falls down into the dirt, there's nothing to absorb. It's already been, sucked dry.
Right. But I'm getting...
And so then this is the place where you could actually kill it because...
Well, right, but it's also a thing with a center. So cutting off its limbs, those don't then become tromba.
Right, yeah. It's probably going to be something where it's like, all right, we need to find the core,
Well, I mean, we know that that's at least how it works, because the kids were literally chopping the limbs off of the thing, and there was a bottom part that didn't immediately then go, into everything else. So at some level, the harming of it is as simple as just chopping it to pieces.
Right.
The part that I feel is terrifying is that it's clearly digging underground too. Like, it's not just spreading up and out. It's at the very least going down. That's why the ground is all,
Yeah, and, who knows how far down the roots go in order to get more stuff, and especially if it gets desperate or things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But all right, y'all,
Very
thank
fun
you so
stuff.
much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel. See if any of that interests you. We'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.